talk about all of that. I'm Dan Graziano, here to talk about all that. We have Tim Hasselbeck, we have Booger McFarland here, and we have our brand new ESPN NFL Nation Chiefs reporter, Nate Taylor. Nate, you started on what, Thursday? Was your first day with the company?
Yeah, I started on Thursday.
Let's throw you right in here.
Let's do it.
What more can you tell us about the Trey Smith deal in Kansas City?
This deal had to be done on both parties, in my opinion, and what it ultimately does is it completes the Chiefs' offseason. We saw what happened in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia. Patrick Mahomes was sacked a career-high 6 times, but the Chiefs, knowing that they have to beef up their offensive line, well, they need Trey Smith because he was entering the league in 2021 the last time the Chiefs overhauled their offensive line. So you don't want a player to play on the franchise tag if you want to keep him long-term. Trey Smith was a 6th-round pick who dealt with blood clot issues, a diagnosis in 2018, and now he is the highest paid interior offensive lineman in NFL history. It's a massive day for him, but it's also a successful day for the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes put a little smiley face on X to tell you how much it's important to him to be protected for the offense to be successul this season.
Yeah, it would have been a $23.4 million franchise tag if they hadn't done a deal, but they get the deal done before the deadline. Smith has sustained 95.6% of his pass blocks for at least 2.5 seconds. That is the 4th best mark of any active offensive lineman since Smith entered the NFL in 2021. Teammate Creed Humphrey, who got paid earlier this offseason, tops the list just ahead of former teammate, now Bear, Joe Thuney. So, Tim Hasselbeck, obviously the Chiefs have been making the interior of their offensive line a priority for the last few years. How important was it for them to get this deal done today?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal, and I think it's a sign of like why the Chiefs are so good. Look, Trey Smith, we just heard, he had blood clot issues coming out of Tennessee. If he didn't have those health concerns, he'd have been a 1st-round pick, maybe a 2nd-round pick. He'd have been a high pick. So they've had him, basically at a discounted cost. His health issues behind him. He's been good in pass pro. He's been extremely physical in the run game. And look, I think it's just another example of the Chiefs doing a good job drafting. And then also, when you think about just the confidence with the group, they draft, at tackle early on in this past year's draft. They re-sign guys that they have. They do let some guys out the door. But you almost just have to trust the plan that Andy Reid has in place. A little bit like, at least I used to feel about New England, when you'd be like, really, those are the receivers that they're bringing back this year? And then you'd look up and it was like David Patton goes for 6 scores by halfway through the season. I think it's a very similar kind of situation in Kansas City. Like, you just have to trust that what they've done up front, what they've done at wide receiver, because of who they're being coached by and because of who their quarterback is typically enough for them.
And it just creates stability on the offensive line. Joe Thuney's no longer there, so now you look at Creed Humphrey, you look at Trey Smith, the stability on the interior of the offensive line is what they need. And when Patrick Mahomes gets in Super Bowls, guys, if he's protected, they win.
Exactly.
And I think if you're Brett Veach and you're Andy Reid, you got to do everything you can to make sure the interior of the offensive line is set. We know they got some question marks at tackle. We'll see how that goes in training camp and throughout the preseason, but you have to have some mainstays, some stability, some core pieces. And Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, 2 of their core pieces are now locked up. And I think if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to feel really good that you have a guy who's one of the better young football players in the National Football League locked up. And quite frankly, this has been a long time coming. As was stated earlier, he should have been a 1st-round pick, dealt with some health issues. So this is one of the more not only team-friendly deals, but just throughout the league, a lot of people are smiling because Trey should have got paid a long time ago, and he finally gets what's coming to him now.
So they good now, and they moved on from Thuney. Maybe a rookie at left tackle. Still some questions to answer on that offensive line.
Oh, of course, and that's another reason why you had to get this deal done with Trey Smith, because he's the player that you actually know is a known commodity alongside Creed Humphrey. We will see what Josh Simmons does, the 1st-round pick in training camp. He is in a competition battle with Jalen Moore, the veteran from San Francisco, and you also have Kingsley Suamataia, the guy that they thought were going to be the left tackle of the future. Well, they're sliding him to left guard. You still have Jawan Taylor, a very good veteran at right tackle, at least for 1 more year. And so now it's about, can the rest of the offense come together if the offensive line is more stable than what we saw last year? And one more thing, based on Sauce Gardner's deal today, the Chiefs will now shift their focus to all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie, who you could argue has been the more productive player. Can they get a deal done with Trent McDuffie before training camp, before the regular season starts.
There's always another deal
Yes,
to
there
do.
is.
He is Nate Taylor. He's our new Chiefs reporter. You're going to be seeing plenty of him. But we have breaking news elsewhere in the NFL coming down this afternoon out of Washington. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who sat out of mandatory minicamp as he looks for a new contract. Well, he had this to say to the media today.
I've been pretty frustrated, I'm not going to lie. Everything that has transpired up until this point has been disappointing and frustrating. I wanted to continue my career here. I've created my life here. My wife and I have bought our first home here, so this has been somewhere where I've always wanted to be. I haven't decided that yet. I'm trying to take things day by day, and I think that's the disappointing part, where I was hoping up until this point things would clear up a lot more than they have.
We are absolutely loaded today with special guests. This is our Commanders reporter, John Keim. All the NFL Nation reporters are here for meetings this week. It's been wonderful, and they're here to help us out with NFL Live today. So, John, when you hear that from Terry McLaurin, what do you make of it?
So there were a couple things that stood out to me, Graz. One, he spoke for about 30 minutes. That's a long time, and most of it was about the frustration over the pace of negotiations. No talks for about the past month. So that's one thing. He reiterated that he wants to be here. It's where he has a lot of value. They value him. But the other two big things, Graz, that he addressed, the age issue. He's going to turn 30 in September. It's an age where receivers start to slow down. But he's only been in the league 7 years. He doesn't have the same wear and tear that maybe some other receivers at that age do. Then the other part is he talked a little bit, or certainly enough, about what he went through in the past year. I think anybody who's an NFL fan knows what this franchise was like prior to Josh Harris arriving. Terry McLaurin was the face of the franchise then, a team leader, respect in the locker room. But if you're the new group, I think you're probably looking more at, okay, that's great, but what's the value going forward?
Yeah. Booger?
Well, the value going forward is going to be that you have a young quarterback who you're looking to make a nice jump from year one to year two in Jayden Daniels, and you want to create stability. You've already come in and brought Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line. So you're trying to surround this young quarterback with protection and playmakers, and there's no better playmaker on your team than Terry McLaurin. Now, is he Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase when it comes to the $40 and $35 million a year? That's for the GM to decide. But I know this. Terry McLaurin is a top 10 receiver in the National Football League. And if you look at what they're making, they're all making above $30 million. So wherever the deal comes in, whether it's 30, 32, 34, figure it out. Continue the continuity that you have in Washington, because right now the Commanders are everybody's darling pick. They got a lot of momentum. They got a lot of positive national momentum. And the last thing you want to do is create a negative controversy on the side as you go into training camp. I think Washington and Adam Peters, they've done everything right so far. Continue this, get this deal done, whether it comes in at 32, 34, 35, whatever the number is, Tim. I think you got to pay him, because his production, not only on your team, but in the league, says so.
Yeah, and Book, how about this? He's also one of your good guys. Like this reminds me of the Trey Hendrickson situation in Cincinnati, and the fact that, look, he's been a team guy. He's been a leader. He's been great in the community. When things were not good, he's kind of risen above, kind of the disaster that's been there, as alluded to in terms of what was going on in Washington in the early part of his career. So here you go. You got basically a star wide receiver, a true number one. Yes, he's around 30 years old, but also the reality is he's been an incredible leader, and he doesn't come with some of the baggage that other elite wide receivers come with. I think that's some of the frustration. To me, when I hear Terry McLaurin talk, it reminds me a little bit of hearing Trey talk, where we'd be like, wait a minute, I've done everything right. Why is this not moving faster? That's what it feels like to me.
We'll see if it gets moving as we get closer to training camp. John Keim will be all over this story for you. More news breaking on this Tuesday. The Jets